Welcome to the Group Dentistry Now Show, the voice of the DSO industry. Kim Larson and Bill Newman talk to industry leaders about their challenges, successes, and the future of group dentistry. Visit groupdentistrynow.com for more DSO analysis, news, and events. Looking for a job or have a job to fill? Visit joindso.com. We hope you enjoy today's show.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this episode of the Group Dentistry Now Show. I have a special guest with me today, and I've known Joanne, for better part of a decade, maybe longer than that. But I have Joanne Brethauer, and she is with Septodont. She is the North American Special Markets Manager at Septodont. And her clinical knowledge, so you learn something new about somebody you've known for a decade, which is amazing. But Joanne started her clinical career back in the Sears dentistry days, so we'll ask her a little bit about that. She was fortunate enough to move into a dental sales role, and that's where I met her. As a successful tenured career, and she is now currently and been with Septodont for quite a while now. And she is working with Septodont in a DSO and group practice role, so whether it's the large DSOs or the emerging groups. And her goal is to expand Septodont's market share through solution-based sales within the DSO network and then also through distribution. So Joanne, good to see you again, and welcome to the Group Dentistry Now Show.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you, Bill. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. I've watched many of your other podcasts, which are quite interesting. So I'm glad to have the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you here. And I think a lot of people know you if they've been in the DSO world for any number of years, but maybe some don't. And then let's talk a little bit. First, let's talk about your clinical career, and right. Let's talk a little bit about that because I'm interested.
Yeah, interesting, right? Yeah. So initially, my role was clinical. I did dental assisting. I was a EFTA. For a DSO. Back in the 80s, as we all know, Sears dentistry was back in the 80s. I did not work for Sears, but I did work for a couple competing DSOs, and it was the same and very different. Obviously, we didn't have the practice management solutions we have today, the software packages. We didn't have digital X-ray. It was very different being in the office. However, some of those DSOs are still in existence today. So, but it's, I have to say, having that clinical knowledge and background really enabled me to be fairly successful throughout my career in dentistry, talking one-on-one with clinicians, hygienists. But it's interesting to really reflect on what it was then and what it is today. Completely different, actually.
They weren't DSOs then. Did they call them? Were you a group practice?
We were a group practice. Yeah, we had when I left, we had 11 locations. The last one I went, it was specific to orthodontics. It was corporately owned, but there were a lot of things you could do back then that you really can't get away with today. And some of the problems were, like cooking the books and things like that. So a lot of DSOs didn't really make it because of the fact that they just didn't have the patient flow, and then the operations just wasn't there.
So they weren't so sophisticated like they are today.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Well, good. Well, thanks for that. I didn't know that. I mean, maybe I knew that. Maybe you told me, but I'm glad now everybody knows. You actually worked for a DSO before they were called a DSO.
Yes. Dates me severely, but that's good.
Yes. Sorry about that. So let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now. So I think that people know who you are, mostly. They might not. Let's talk about the company that you work for, Septodont. So we were talking just before we started to record a little bit about how Septodont is really well known for their products, but a lot of people may not know the company.
Correct. And one of the main reasons is because it's a family-owned business. So it's interesting, when you're publicly traded, so, it's easy to really go out there and find information about companies. Our company, Septodont, was established in 1932 by Annie and Nestor Schiller. And at that time, predominantly anesthetics, needles, and some medicaments. But they really grew pharmacology part of it, the dental pharmacology, right? The actual pain management side of Septodont. Henri took it to its next level and continued to grow throughout many other countries. It originated in France. We currently have 8 manufacturing facilities throughout the world today. And we are registered to sell into 150 countries. So it's amazing, but we're still family owned today. And that's Olivier Schiller, who is our CEO and leading us into the next century, which is amazing. But also, we still focus our core competency on dental pain management.
Okay. So that leads right into the next question. So as far as Septodont today, how would you say the company is recognized? If you were going to talk to, a younger dentist or maybe an established dentist, how would they know Septodont? If it's not the company, what products do they specifically know?
Yeah, and it's undoubtedly, it's absolutely would be the product Septocane.
Okay.
In the year 2000, Septodont brought Septocane to the U.S., and it was a game changer. Brand new dental anesthetic that addressed issues that they were having with lidocaine and some other types of anesthetics. So it was technologically advanced for an injectable. And it's amazing because I still hear today from dentists how it changed the way they did dentistry, right? It was that good. But it's amazing with being in pharma and working with a drug, it takes a lot of education and time to really get that product out there to where it needs to be. You need to have your clinicals have to be established and things like that. So, but still today, it's unsurpassed as far as what it can provide. Not only the clinician, but the patient, right?
Right.
Because it really offers a profound numbness for the patient as well.
So just about everybody knows Septocane, and now they know who Septodont is. So you mentioned, I think, in the 1930s, so about 87 years, Septodont's been around, correct?
Yeah.
And so what are you doing? Things are really evolving quickly. I feel anyway, the speed of change, some of it's technology based, and it just seems very, very rapid. So what is Septodont doing today to be on the cutting edge?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Because when we're on the side of dental materials, right? So it's an ever-changing world, like you said, in dentistry today. It's all about digital dentistry in all different facets, right? So not just your digital X-rays, but your marketing, every aspect, digitalization is coming in. So it's imperative that you really stay cutting edge. We committed and focused in the area of dental pain management, which is the interesting thing. It's a mission critical product. And not only for the dentist, but the patient, as well as our distributors, right? However, we strive constantly to bring new technologies that offer solution-based, providing patients with better outcomes, delivering better patient experience. So we're just committed, but we have some new things on the horizon that are really going to be change the way dentistry is done, kind of like the Septocane story. So we're excited about that. But it's and also looking outward too. We've done a lot of acquisitions over the past 10 years. And we've also done what I call de novo manufacturing. So we've moved into some other countries and have established ourselves there as well. So we're really looking at staying relevant globally is very important to us. But yet once again, just really looking for something that's going to change that patient experience as well.
Right. So as far as product introductions, you had one that was relatively recent this past year, focused on pain management. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this really falls into the innovative digital side of the world, which is great because we introduced the DentaPen, which was approximately this time last year. It was like a pre-launch, and the DentaPen is a new CCLAD. CCLAD being a computer-controlled local anesthetic delivery device.
Okay.
This device allows a dentist to improve on the manual process of delivering dental anesthetic as they do today. So using a basic syringe and a needle and using your manual abilities. Interesting because it's so needed, I think. Because it's a computer chipped control, it enables the clinician to control the speed as well as it measures and senses and regulates the pressure of the injection as well. So what's important about those two things, the pressure and the speed, those are two factors that come into the realm of pain when giving an injection. So anytime that you can improve in this area, it's going to be beneficial to the clinician, but extremely beneficial to the patient as well. The consistency of an injection is so important. So by controlling these factors, it allows a dentist or a hygienist to give the same injection at 8 a.m. as they would at 3 p.m., no matter how your day is going. It takes the actual manual physical properties out of the actual giving of the injection. So it really does make a difference.
So consistency.
Consistency. And it just provides a more comfortable injection. It's amazing. So as you and I both know, we've been to many events where we've heard speakers and seen data in regards to why do patients not go to the dentist. And the number one reason is the fear of pain. Now, interesting enough, a lot of people associate that with a needle, but also just pain in general around dentistry. I mean, most times patients show up because they're in pain. They have pain during the time they're there, and post-op pain can also possibly be an issue. So anytime you can change and really just make it better for the patient regarding the pain aspect, it's going to be helpful. I think this tool is amazing. One, because patients are going to look to see to have a better, if there's a better way to have an injection, they want to know about it.
Right.
But also, being able to market your office as well with this, your practice.
Yeah.
It's key for that. Anytime you can improve a process, even though it does, we're habitual. Everyone has habits. So it does require some change, just like all the other things coming about in dentistry, all these new digital tools that we have. But just being acceptant and trying to make some changes. And I think it's amazing because I think what I'm finding too, dentists just enjoy doing something different, changing it up to something that they do every day, maybe 10 times a day. So I really think it's a game changer, and it's going to change the way we do dentistry.
So relatively new product, about a year old, a year since it's been launched. So how are the DSOs and emerging groups receiving this? What are some of the benefits that you would say are more specific to a group practice or a DSO?
Right. I think I'm seeing more acceptance, more interest, more intrigue with the emerging groups. Obviously, it's a little more manageable for them to get out there and do product trials. They also are looking to really differentiate themselves. This tool is excellent for that, as well as I think any not only emerging group but DSO, a lot of young doctors coming into these groups. This tool can allow them to become really proficient and excellent at something maybe they haven't done for 10 years. So it's going to get them to that level faster, possibly. But also, too, I think from a marketing standpoint, something they can offer their patient that may be different than, Joe next door or whatever the case may be.
So that's a great point. So you have younger clinicians that don't have the experience giving injections or not as much experience. So this will give them a little bit more of a comfort, makes them more comfortable as they do this, and then they get to be hopefully more proficient. And I love it. And of course the marketing, so that makes a lot of sense. Where I think maybe solo practitioners aren't so focused on the marketing. It's one way for a DSO or an emerging group to stand out. So pretty cool stuff. So that's the DentaPen. And so this is something that I think is equally important when it comes to DSOs and emerging groups. So if a DSO or a smaller group was interested in this product or any product from Septodont, so how do you go about educating them, onboarding? Tell us the process there, because there still is a learning curve, right?
There with the DentaPen, there is a learning curve, but it's actually fairly quick. What we're finding, obviously, we've sold a few of these out in the marketplace already within the 9 months that we've been shipping. But I think just with a mindset of like, this is the way I do it. This is the way I've always done it. Right. So changing that over, I think with the younger doctors, they're very intrigued. We've gotten a lot of response from young doctors, especially.
Okay.
So I think in turn, as far as onboarding, I think it just requires a trial, seeing the value. So really actually, and this is what we do, we offer the assistants to go in, review the product, stay in place as they're utilizing it for maybe a couple hours, and really getting the response of the patient. That's what's amazing. When the patient gets out of the chair and they're like, wow, didn't really feel that palatal injection. So it's that's what a lot of times that's what's selling this device. And then the dentist I find uses it for not just 1, 2, 3 types of injections, but all injections. And that's another thing to note. This is a product that goes room to room. So it's excellent in that regard. Can be reprocessed 7 times over, and then it's just it's so efficient that there's no aftermarket cost on the device as well. So they utilize what they're currently using today. Their same cartridges of anesthetic and their same needles. So there's a lot of differentials, but I do think, providing them the assistance of letting them trial the product is very important. Coming back with questions from an onboarding standpoint. We do other things for onboarding as well, from pain management. Obviously, we can provide other types of education. We can do hands-on injection technique. We have the KOLs that can provide that. And then as well, we have tools that leave behind, right, that go into an onboarding kit possibly. And one is, it's called the anesthetic wheel. And many of our DSOs are taking advantage of this. It's a wheel that we provide them that shows every type of anesthetic, allowing them to see the max dose, the minimum dose, the weight, all of these things indicated in one source. And then inside it also has a package insert, which has all the dental anesthetics listed all on one sheet, because technically you really should have that practice, somewhere.
Well, it sounds like a great resource. So
Yes.
you're actually saying that a lot of times by trialing the product, that patient feedback sells the product.
Absolutely. That's I'm going to say maybe as high as 30-40% so far. I've witnessed it. It's quite amazing. So there are certain injections, obviously, than others that are, are more painful just because of the way they're given and where they're given in the mouth. So utilizing this device for that and minimizing the pain, it's and the patients, it's like it's the best thing ever. Having the patient get out and say that was great.
Yeah, from a patient perspective, a lot of times the pain is associated with the needle and not necessarily with the procedure. So it's either the pain that they have and the reason that they're at the dentist, so they have the pain prior, or the needle because maybe you have a clinician that's not completely comfortable with giving injections or hasn't done that for like you said 10 years. Right. So this will alleviate a lot of those issues and have that consistency. So that's interesting. So let's move on and talk a little bit more broadly about what you see when you're working day to day with emerging groups and DSOs. So what are some of the challenges in general? It could be pain management related, but just in general, what are you seeing today?
I think in general, one is just, I think with DSOs, it's so competitive. I see a lot of competition out there now. And so we have emerging groups, we have DSOs, and we have DSOs taking over emerging groups. It's almost like you can't keep track. But I also see just keeping their core values in place. I think there's DSOs that are amazing at doing this. I listen to them at certain events I attend, and I'm blown away. But I think that's key, is really having those core values in place, because I think patients are also very digitally aware, right? So there's a lot of access for them today. And they love the fact, especially the millennials, and that they can schedule their appointments and things like that. But they're also going to do research. The web provides all of us a lot of information. So I think that's one challenge that they have, really engaging with the patient. I don't think they realize how much that's needed. And then also, outside of DSOs and emerging groups, we also have GPOs that are also forming as well. So we have a new platform coming in, which is interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of confusion in the industry right now. And you're right, GPOs are the new latest, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around exactly what they are and what they do. And
right.
I think some of them are trying to figure their models out as well. But yeah, so pretty interesting stuff. And I totally agree that there's a lot of transparency on the internet. I think technology is if you're a DSO or an emerging group, you have to keep up with technology. So you talked about booking online, what millennials or what younger patients are expecting from an experience, whether it's dental or anything. Dental is wrapped into medical, which is wrapped into almost like a retail experience.
Correct.
The Amazon, I get everything delivered in 2 days. I want to be able to book things online. I want to be able to make changes. So.
Right. I want to go to the dentist tomorrow.
Right. So tell me a little bit about what 2020 looks like for Septodont. And, again, right before we recorded this, we were talking a little bit. So you've got a couple product launches next year that you maybe can't talk about now, but so you've got some new things on the horizon.
Right.
DentaPen, certainly this year, is the latest and greatest, and making some changes for the industry. So what do you think of 2020 for Septodont, and then any predictions on the industry in general?
2020 for Septodont it looks great. I will have to say we are ready to come into 2020, come to the age, because we, over the last 10 years, have really evolved just from the standpoint of taking our company to the next level. So making sure that we are incorporating digitalization within our organization. So I think that's important too. Because just, churning and burning products out there is great, but you really have to have the back office as well, to really running well. Okay, to support all of your initiatives. So I'm very proud of my company, and it's like I said, you have no idea the changes that they really have done just from IT standpoint, HR, and they invest in their people, which is amazing. So with that, it allows us to also do the acquisitions that we need to move forward, or possibly develop new products and bring those to market as well. Acquisitions for us is a new thing, really. We've always really stayed very close to just doing everything ourselves, right? So I think that's really going to help us in 2020 evolve to be bigger and better than where we are already today. But the Wonder product is still in our realm, which is interesting. It will address pain management, and it's going to be good. I'm so happy. It's a product that we had many years ago, and we're actually resurrecting. And we see a lot of and a lot of uses, especially from a hygiene standpoint, because it will technically maybe be for a profound 1-hour procedure, but it will address a lot of other just sensitivities and heightened pain issues that patients have, when they come into the dental practice.
Okay.
So we're excited about that.
And we can look forward to that sometime in 2020.
Yes.
Okay.
It's early in 2020.
Early 2020. Okay, we'll hold you to that. But right now, the DentaPen is really what your focus is, and what seems to be really important to emerging groups and DSOs.
Yes. Yeah. Today, I think they should embrace it. And I think, if anything, it's worth investigating, because I think they would be surprised at what it possibly can do for their DSO, their practices. And maybe it's just, their pediatric practices. Maybe it's their endodontic. So sometimes we're seeing that it's really kind of veering into specialties in many cases.
Interesting.
So there are lots of niches for this product, but I do believe this is for every dentist, and it brings value to every dentist, and it's not just a niche. So.
Well, thanks, Joanne. I appreciate you spending time with us today and educating us about Septodont and the DentaPen and what's going to be happening in 2020. Well, he told us a little bit about it anyway, a little tease there. But we appreciate it. We're looking forward to finding out more about what Septodont's up to next year. And we'll have the contact information for Joanne. If they want to reach you, what's your email address real quick?
It's J. Brethauer.
You're going to have to spell that.
Okay, so it's J, and it's BRETHAUER at Septodont.com.
Excellent. And we'll have a graphic up. Anybody that be watching the video, they can see that email address there, and you can contact Joanne, or you'll see her at one of the many DSO or emerging group meetings that is now in existence in 2020. Yes. So thanks again, and thanks everybody for watching and listening to the Group Dentistry Now Show.
Thank you, Bill.
The Group Dentistry Now Show has listeners across North and South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. If you like our show, subscribe today, and please tell your colleagues about us.